Okay, we're talking about open houses. I am Chrissy Hagan, and as my dear friend Tammy mentioned, I am in Columbus, Ohio, with Keller Williams Classic Properties. I'm turning my phone on airplane mode so it doesn't beep us out. So I'm at Keller Williams Classic Properties. I have been in real estate for 7 years. I've been in just about every position, part-time, full-time. I've helped with social media on some teams. I now have my own team. I'm the director of growth, and I have on my KW Military. I am our regional ambassador for our area for KW Military. So anyway, a little bit of experience there, but a whole lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to being here. I'm very, very excited that I have the opportunity. So thank you, Tammy and Matt and Kellyanne and everyone else. So happy to see you all. If you have any questions, then please, throw them in the chat and jump in and ask them. So we're going to talk today about capturing leads with open houses. So we'll kind of talk about how to prepare for the open house, how to run the open house, and then what to do after. Sound good? I only see one person. So if anybody wants to turn on a screen, feel free. Otherwise, I understand there's a bunch of people in the room. So Tammy, are you able to admit people as they're coming in, or I don't need to do that, correct? Cool. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and head out. As the song said, to my house. We're going to talk about open houses. So I'm going to share the screen here, and you will hopefully see the PowerPoint that we are going to work from. I do not wish to be a talking head here for two hours by any means with the PowerPoint. So if you could only see the room around here, you would laugh. My team just did. I've got tchotchkes and stuff everywhere. So I will stop it frequently and show you some examples of some ideas and things that I have used or my team is using in open houses. So without further ado, let's move on here. So we can't start a training without Gary Keller. So as the quote says here, nothing else about your business will have as big of an impact on it as the number of leads you have. That was a quote from Gary Keller in MREA, or the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And that's very apropos and perfect for us to talk about today. So it's all about capturing leads from the open house. So, go. Okay, it's not moving. Oh, there we go. So first of all, as we talk about open houses, there's probably some limiting beliefs. I believe that we have a beautiful mix of people here that are newer, as well as hopefully some experienced folks out there in all of the rooms across Midwest. I think we've got Kentucky and Ohio here. So hopefully we have a nice mix and can have some good conversation there. And personal experiences. But some of the limiting beliefs that I have heard before is that you can't do an open house because you do not have a listing to hold open. I don't know, Tammy, if we're going to be able to do back and forth. I can't see everybody. I don't know what the talking is. Do you want me to just talk, or do we have the ability to converse?
No, we have the ability, so you can ask a question and then people can unmute, either folks that are in a room together, or they can unmute if they're home watching this on Zoom as well.
Yeah. Thank you. So we'll go through some of these and then we'll open it up. If you can think of any others, then we'll all learn from each other and share that as well. If you have additional limiting beliefs. So one of them is, I don't have a listing to hold open. And that is a limiting belief, because you clearly can hold an open house. It does not have to be yours. So we'll talk more about that. Another limiting belief is, I don't have signs yet. So that is a limiting belief, meaning we need to think beyond that and think beyond what we have. It's a who, not how, or it might be a what or a where is actually the question that you need to find out. Doesn't mean you have to spend the money and you have to have everything right away. You just have to know where to ask and where to get it. Another limiting belief, I may not know the answers to the questions visitors have. Here's the good news. If you have your real estate license, you already have more information on a home than most people do. And bottom line, you don't have to know everything. You just have to say, honestly, great question. Let me get that answer and know where to go. So limiting belief gone. Open houses don't really work because, oh, I can't see us here, because most people look online. Actually, they work because they do look online. So we'll talk about that today. And then I won't feel safe. Safety cannot be discussed enough in our industry. We're going to spend some time on that today. Very passionate about that. My business partner on our team is a concealed carry instructor. He has a business in teaching safety. He is a jujitsu instructor, and he's done a lot of classes here within our office. So we'll talk a lot about safety and dig deeper into that. Is there any limiting beliefs that anybody out there at the offices across Synergy would like to add? Are there any that we perhaps missed? Sounds like we might have a good encompassing one. So what we're going to talk about then. Why is this not going?
You know, I don't care to eat it, but.
What was that? I don't know if it's on my side. I can't hear that. So we're going to I guess, move on. So in today's agenda, we're going to talk about capturing the leads with the open houses, and we're going to walk through dispelling some of those limiting beliefs. We'll talk about capturing the leads with the open houses, best practices, preparing, prospecting, and pursuing. We'll recap and have plenty of ahas throughout. And then by the end, we'll continue to reinforce what I think you guys have already been talking about through each of these great classes, and that is the daily success system. So we'll work through that just so you know what to expect. It's always good to know. Obviously, it's 2 hours here at most, and I will be very respectful of your time. So one of the questions or one of the beliefs at the beginning to dispel is I don't have a listing to hold open. So who out there can throw out to us, where else can you get a listing? If you don't have a listing, where can you find a listing? Any ideas?
You can ask other agents who do have listings.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we know KW worldwide, right? We talk about how we're number one. It didn't come because we just were all hidden agents and doing nothing. So 100%, you can absolutely use someone else's listing. So I actually have an agent in on my team, and I might have him pop in here in a little bit and give you some of his experience, but he is king at getting out and walking around the office, does a lap, as we call it, and kind of laugh. And he says hi to every agent in the office who's here early in the week, lets them know his availability. And either through that or by posting on our office Facebook page, he's able to get at least one, if not more, open houses every weekend. And even in addition to the ones for our own team. So you can absolutely hold someone else's open house. So let's see, what do you do here? Who does an open house even benefit? As this says, it's sellers, buyers, neighbors, and you. So we'll break each one of those down a little bit. For a seller, the benefit to an open house is the high exposure all at one time. So they only have to be gone for however long you choose to do it, usually, typically, probably 2 hours, maybe 3 in some areas. And that seller would be gone for a limited amount of time and hopefully get a large number of people through there. Open houses, though, we know could have one person come through, and it could be a complete revolving door of 30, 40, 50. You can't completely control that. You can be prepared for it as much as possible, but that's the benefit to the seller. For the buyer, there's no obligation. So they see a sign, they see something on the internet, they can just stop by and see it. They are not going to be hounded. They're not going to feel guilty. They can snag ideas on the area, what they like about a house, what they like if they want to be nosy about decorating and so forth. So it's a no obligation, low pressure way to be able to look at real estate. For neighbors, That's oftentimes a perfect way to be nosy and find out how Sally Jane over there decorated or took care of her house, or boy, I saw all of those remodeling trucks over there for the last year. What did they do so I can get ideas for my house? However, I would change a little bit of a thinking on the nosy neighbor, and I would push out there the idea, and the way that we've seen it is that neighbors are incredible to have at open houses, because neighbors are informative. I make them feel so, so important, because they are, because neighbors are able to tell you what they love most about the area. So when a neighbor tells you that they love the park, and that, you know, the 1 mile lap that they can walk around, or the proximity to walk to restaurants, or the nature preserve, or whatever it is that they tell you, you can then turn around and regurgitate this information to people that are walking in. Additionally, with neighbors, they like to just linger a little bit, and they provide additional traffic, but they don't need a lot of information from you, because they already live right there, and they may not be looking usually to perhaps move into that home. They might be looking for someone who they know that would be, but otherwise they really like to spend a little bit of time. And we know there's a FOMO in our society, as typical with humans. If somebody is looking at something, somebody else has to make sure they're not going to miss out. So neighbors also help to create traffic, which is a great benefit to us as agents. And then finally is us. So you as a real estate agent have an immense amount of benefits from an open house. Some of those, just a few, are branding. So it is your way of marketing yourself, between what you do with signage, what you put out there on social media, what you do with circle prospecting, and all kinds of things that we're going to talk about today. So really, the person who benefits the most is quite often actually the real estate agent. And it's not always that the person who comes to the open house writes an offer that exact day on that house, goes into contract, and off and running. It absolutely happens, but typically it's more often than not you as the real estate agent who is walking away with advertising, branding, and leads, which is the goal here. So also, just so you know, a stat that is through NAR is that 51% of buyers actually researched homes through open houses. So there'll be another stat here later that's going to be in reference to not open houses, but online. But over half of the people that buy a home did do some research by going to open houses. So the value that you're providing is also immense there. All right, so benefits of an open house. They're inexpensive to host. The things that I'm going to show you today are quite typically either extremely inexpensive, something that you may already have at home, or you buy it once and it lasts you for all of your open houses. So it's not expensive to have an open house at all. You can do it on a no budget, shoestring budget, or you could do a huge catered event. It's completely up to you and what's appropriate for your budget and for the house that you are hosting the open house at. Another benefit of an open house is it's a prospecting tool. It helps you to find buyers and also to meet other agents. With that being said, though, you also can find, and what's not listed here is from an open house, you can find a seller. So people often want to know, especially in the aggressive market that we have in most places across the US today, is people are afraid to perhaps buy a home until they've sold. So this is a nice way for people to get out and for buyers to look without being committed to selling their home yet. So they could become very interested in the home that you've listed, but then turn around and be ready to sell theirs as well. So you could get both sides of that. You could also be meeting other agents and making connections throughout your marketplace. So that is a great tool for you as an agent. There's also a high return on investment. Our time in our industry is money. So your return on your investment in 2 hours, the amount of leads that you can make compared to many other activities that you might do on leads, as well as cost. So if you were to go buy leads through that Z word out there, and you might be putting thousands of dollars down, and it could last a month and you might hear from 1 or 2 people. Whereas an open house, you could have a revolving door and you could meet 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, and more people potentially in just a couple of short hours. And they're oftentimes at an open house, they're qualified leads. So they've actually already been through the pre-approval process, a lot of them. And if they haven't, you're going to connect them to your affiliate or your preferred lender. So is any of that an aha? Is anything a little bit different mind shift than you had maybe been thinking? I'm going to take this down so I can see you guys. Talk to me a little bit about the open house experience thus far. I think we have what? We have Heartland, we have Lexington, XL, and Elite, right? So we have 3 different offices here. See, we're connecting to audio. Very good.
Something on your first slide that I was thinking about.
With the limiting beliefs or the Gary Keller?
No, after that. Benefits.
All right.
The benefits slide.
Absolutely. So the benefits, it's inexpensive to host, prospecting, it's a prospecting tool, the high return on investment, and the qualified leads. Oh, I think that you're talking, okay, here we go. We can go back to that. Here we go. Here we go. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Oh, I know it was, you covered it, was that, the neighbors and how they typically, they have people they love and they want to live next door to. So they're really, high value in, getting somebody in there, or they know somebody who could potentially be that buyer for that house, was the only other thing I was thinking about.
Absolutely. Well, they do. So who do you want living
Unknown.
next to you? Do you want the unknown, or would you prefer to have somebody who's your friend or loved one? What was that?
Yeah, pick your neighbors and, make sure that somebody you want living next to you. So they usually are really good about, knowing somebody who might potentially be a buyer for you.
Absolutely. We pick our friends. If we can pick them to be our neighbors as well, that's an extra win for sure. So yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's talk about next is going to head into some best practices. And the first part of that is going to be to set goals for yourself. So you need to be mindful and make sure that our mindset is the wrong place. I know we've been talking about the E to P throughout this process of Ignite. And we want to make sure that we are not being entrepreneurial, but rather very purposeful with our best practices. So what I mean by saying setting goals is you want to set some concrete and achievable goals for yourself before going in. You don't want to just time block 2 hours on a Saturday or Sunday and then just show up, right? So you need to have a goal for being there, because your time, which is the graphic on here with the clock, time equals money. Your hourly rate is worth a lot more than just putting it on there. So what your goals could be is the number of people that you intend to add to your database. It could be the number of leads that you will contact as new buyers. And it could be the number of appointments that you will set. So you don't have control over exactly how many people walk through that door, but the activities that you do to encourage more people to walk through is going to increase this. So I would highly suggest setting goals for yourself. We are in a 1099 business, and a service-oriented business are really need to be self-motivated. And that's where actionable, achievable, or SMART goals come into play. So set goals for yourself. Then you need to pick the house. So think about the house that you're going to want to pick. You're going to want a place where people can park. You're going to want a place that you're going to want to choose an open house given a choice, it's not always a lot to choose from, but if you're given a choice, you want to choose the one that is going to be in the area that you typically do most of your business. You'll want to choose one that's in a price point that you desire in yours. If you're typically selling $300,000 and $400,000 homes, then you're probably going to want to look for one in that marketplace. That might be where you have clients that would be looking as well, that would benefit. So think about the market numbers. And then as you're picking the house, that comes down everything with homes, right? In real estate is about location, location, location. So choose a home that's highly visible. I had read somewhere 3 turns from the main road is ideal. Does that mean you won't choose a house if it's 4 or 5 turns away? No, not at all. Obviously not. But the easier it is, the more people that will probably show up. Now, if it's more than 3 turns away, I just have more signs. Have yourself a nice supply of open house signs to be able to put in more places and get more visibility. You're going to connect with your local market. So before the day of the open house, find out where is the shopping, where are the highways close by, where are the grocery stores that they would be shopping at and putting money back into the market. Which, by the way, side note, we just had a great economy discussion here in our office, and it was just told to us by somebody from Keller Mortgage was here, and he had said that after somebody purchases a home, they spend $9,000 to $12,000 that first year. So where are those places that they're going to need to go? Where are the Home Depots and those type of places? Where are the grocery stores? Where's the restaurant? Where are the coffee shops? Where are the parks, schools, trails? You name it. So how are you going to connect with people in the market, and how are you going to know that market to best tell them where they will be able to shop and eat and explore? And then obviously stats. We are in a numbers business. That's part of what we are providing. So knowing what is the average price of a home in that neighborhood or area, what's the dollar per square foot that homes are selling for, and what other open houses are happening at a similar time, or listings that might be active in that area. So being aware of what's going on in real estate. So you've chosen the home. We're going to consider inviting somebody to come with you. I don't know if you typically, if you're out there, if you've not done open houses before, this might be a new idea. If you have done open houses, might be a good idea to add, but inviting somebody else with you. It could be a lender. They benefit from it. Obviously, if somebody is not pre-approved, they would be able to help them in that scenario. It's also good though to invite somebody else to be with you because of safety. So safety in numbers is always a good thing. So consider inviting somebody. People that tend to offer to us to come can be a home warranty rep. Of course, they're able to talk about if anybody had a question and how old is the refrigerator or how old is the air conditioner, somebody there that would be able to talk about that product, but they're not there to sell services, but they're there to help. And they all want to be a part of our affiliate list. So utilize them in that way. And additionally, title reps. They want our business, and so they're very open and willing to support us in ours. So consider inviting somebody to be part of the open house with you. So how do you get prepared? What do you bring with you? And what are those stats that we talked about just a minute ago? Some of the questions that you may be asked that you can do your research on with open houses is, why is the home for sale? What are the age of these mechanicals? So the hot water tank, the HVAC, what's the age of the roof, who has the plumbing and the electrical, all of those things that are going to cost money if it were to not, or if it were to have an issue. What is the age of those so that somebody knows what they're getting into? And then, I have a spelling, sorry there. What are the dates of any updates that have been done? So maybe there's been a remodel in the last year, 5 years, 10 years, just so people know what attention to detail has been taken with the house. Now, I will point out the next point is you may know a lot of information, but there may be some information that the seller does not wish for you to share. So if it's your listing, you will already know what that that is, if it's not your listing, and if you're doing the listing for another agent, just find out, is there anything that they did not want shared? And predominantly, that's mostly going to be, why is the home for sale? It doesn't, if they say share it, great. If they say no, doesn't matter. And if you don't know the answer, well, then you don't have to worry about it anyway. But perhaps if they were to have, say that they were going through a divorce, if you were to talk about motivation, somebody may think that gives them a little bit of leverage, so they may not want that to be utilized. In this market, I don't know that it really makes that much of a difference, since prices are tending to go up more than down, but use that to the best advantage of the seller who you are a fiduciary to, or you're providing a service to. We already talked about who else could accompany you and why. So then I would say come prepared. So coming prepared for the open house is going to mean a whole bunch of supplies, which is the table before us. So we'll get to that. And that comes with this. So a time and a theme. How often, Tammy, down in your area, how often, or excuse me, how long? Are they typically 2 hours? Which usually the time frame for an open house?
Typically 2 hours. Typically here we do either on Sundays from 2 to 4. I like to do Saturdays from 1 to 3, and then I like to do twilight open houses from 5 to 7 on Thursdays.
So 2 hours, twilight, and then Saturday, Sunday. Got it.
I like Thursdays from 5 to 7 because you catch them before, Friday's the last day they have to work typically, and you catch them on their way home, and they'll scoot right in and snag a lip real quick. So.
What else do we have out there? Anybody else? When do you typically do yours? What are the times, and what is the length of time? So some of the times that we're doing here, I like how you mentioned the Thursday, because they only have one work day left in their work week. Additionally, some of the things to look at is what's around the house. So I had a open house in a neighborhood that is adjacent to the school. So I actually did one of the open houses shortly after school was getting out and around that time frame, so that people were able to stop by the house as they were on their way. Actually, we had started it before school got out, and we had it marketed a few days before, so that they knew it was going to be around that hour. So anyway, people were able, as parents were going to drop off and or pick up their kids after school, they were able to stop. So that one was more of a 3 to 5. I did another one in an area here of Columbus called the Short North, and it has a lot of nightlife and bars and pubs, or a gallery hop. So that one was more of a weeknight, much similar to Tammy was saying with the 5 to 7. So doing those around what's going on in a neighborhood, when is traffic naturally going to be in that area, then make the most of that. So another point to consider when you obviously want to do what's best for the house and for the seller, but for yourself, as we've already mentioned, the real estate agent is getting a lot of benefit from doing the open houses. So how many are you doing? What you can consider is, don't limit yourself. You can do 2 a day. You could do 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. So I know a lot of people that are doing a 10 to 12 and a 1 to 3, or an 11 to 1 and a 2 to 4 on Saturday, and again on Sunday. So if it makes sense for the area where the house is located and for your calendar, consider potentially doing more than one, helping more than one agent, or hitting more than one with your listings if you happen to have that many. Congratulations. But maybe consider more than one open house even. And then themes we'll talk about here in just a second, and what impacts that timing. If you know that you happen to be, for example, we have a listing last weekend, and we want to avoid Sundays in the middle of the afternoon, because directly behind the house every single Sunday were soccer fields that were completely jam-packed. We knew it blocked the roads. It was going to block the amount of people that could get to our open house. And it might be a little bit scary. We're not hiding it. They can go see at any time what happens in that area. But I didn't really want to showcase for our open house the amount of traffic that was behind here. It could have been viewed as a great benefit to somebody if their child was playing soccer, but I didn't want to choose an open house at that exact time. So maybe think about what's also going on around there. All right. So picking a time and picking a theme. Mentioned a few of them already, kind of that Thursday night happy hour. Might consider wine and cheese. How about games? Games on Sunday. It could be football games. It could be college. It could be professional. Saturday professional games. Could be horse racing. It could be anything. So think about what's going on when you go to list it. What would be the potential challenge with some of the market that you want to have at your open house? And then how can you combat it? So make the theme around that event, turn on the television and have the event playing. And when you market your open house, say as much so people know to expect that. If you go shopping at a major department store, you're going to see all kinds of people sitting wherever the TVs are, right, while their loved one is shopping. Do the same thing. Have the TV playing with that. Here in Columbus, the Buckeyes game, or maybe University of Kentucky or something like that. Have that game playing on the television and have the napkins, kind of replicate whatever that theme is. So utilize it to your benefit. Maybe you want to do something fun. I tend to be the queen of corn, as my kids will say. So I do this. So this right here was created for me by my family, and it's for donuts. So you say, "Don't let this home get away from you," or "Thanks a whole bunch for coming." So this is a pole here, and you can put stacked donuts on it. Now this was used prior to COVID and a pandemic, because you don't want people necessarily touching a whole bunch of things now. So that these have not been used in a little bit, but I did one, "Don't let this one get away." And it was a tower of donuts, and I had different ones for different flavored donuts. You could do the donut holes, and you could put them in little bags for people to take home so they're not touching them perhaps today, or you could even put little toothpicks in the little donut holes. Maybe you could say this is a sweet home, and you could give out cookies. During the winter, I wasn't going to bring a coffee pot in here today to the office, but show you this. I had bought actually to take to a family reunion because I love my coffee. And I don't necessarily want to have to go downstairs at a hotel to get it. So I had bought this little bitty coffee pot, super cute. I started taking it to open houses in the winter with coffee pods. People had the option of what flavor they wanted, and maybe they wanted hot chocolate. So I got different pods to individually put in there and come warm up with us on a cold winter day. So offering something like that. Could be corny again, popcorn. Thanks for popping by. And as soon as they leave, they get to take home a little microwave popcorn. Or during Easter, I always did the Peeps. So thanks for coming by, Peeps. It was a pleasure meeting you, type of a thing. So just having a theme around it just adds a little extra fun. When somebody's going to work and they get an invitation to work, how much more exciting is that? So the same thing for this. It can become daunting going to open house after open house and showing after showing, in not necessarily getting the bid, which a lot of offers are happening, right? You're having to put in several for some buyers. If you make it fun and you make it different, you can become the agent that really stands out and is top of mind, which is what we really want to be on everything, is top of mind. So anyway, just a reminder, with the pandemic, prepackaged items are probably best, but always play off of the local events, holidays that are coming, whatever is right for you. If you don't like corny, you like more straightforward, go that route. And quite honestly, if none of this appeals to you and you want to just walk in and you don't want to bring any of it, that is fine too. It's a matter of how you present yourself and the information that you bring with your stats and market information that's most important. But if you do like to do that extra little bit with this, it does make a difference and it is noticed. I did put on there though as well to set the mood and music. So like we were just playing a bit ago, this song, I actually have on, here we go. Welcome to my house. Okay, so on Spotify or if Apple Music, if that's what you use, you can actually go in and make a playlist. So I have one that's called KW Open House, and I've added all kinds of songs on there that are appropriate, and most of them have a home theme to it. So if you put those in a playlist, then when you arrive at the home and you're ready to open the doors, if you go ahead and start your playlist, then that music is going. It might also want to have one of those little bitty Bluetooth, what do they call speakers? Yeah, have a speaker and place it because this is usually it's on my phone, and I'm not going to just set my phone for safety purposes and walk away because I may need it. So I usually have that in my back pocket and let it play through Bluetooth to a little speaker across the living room or kitchen or whatever. I would be within Bluetooth range for it to be playing so other people can hear it, not too loud. But just setting a fun atmosphere. All right. All right. Any questions on any of that?
Yeah. Go back to that playlist. Okay, so first of all, I know, Chrissy. What on the playlist? Put that on our girls trip list, would you? I need a playlist.
100%. Yeah, there's probably 20 songs on here. And honestly, if you Google online, if you type in open house, real estate open house songs, you'll get 5 or 10 coming up easily. But yeah, I mean, I would put a huge mix of what appeals to you, but appeals to a wide variety of people. So mine has from Steely Dan to Queen to Daryl Oates and whatever, Daryl Hall Johnson, like as a huge variety, George Ezra, Rod Stewart, like there's a huge variety of people, and it's not about it's about the message of the song. So make sure that they're clean and appropriate because you're gonna have all kinds of people coming through the house. So you want to make sure that you're not offending anyone. But when they're house related and they're upbeat and fun, it's a win-win, and it really makes it more enjoyable for you. You're going to be there for 2 hours of your life. Needs to be fun and enjoyable for you as well. One I was going to show you, by the way. I had this one here. When a cold winter open house, I had these that I had given out as well. So these were little glasses that were just $1, mugs at the dollar store, and I added into it the hot chocolate. So people that came to that open house, I handed that out as they left. So that was an idea as well. I know he was wondering when my teammate came in earlier, he's like, why do you have toilet paper? But I did, you have fun. Like this world is about, we just got to have fun, guys. So early in the pandemic, I had not taken Costco out by any means, but I had toilet paper at home. So I went out and I had a little stack of them. I made like a little teepee of them, and I had a little enter to win the package of toilet paper. People laughed, and it made their day. Not that they necessarily needed it. It was early on, but they entered to win. And I got their name and information, which was the goal for me. It made them laugh, made us build relationships, and we're in a relationship business. So that works. All right, so let's talk about those stats. We're gonna get away from the fun stuff because Queen of Corn here loves the fun stuff, but let's go ahead and talk about the stats that you do need to prepare and show that you know your market. In preparing the stats to talk about some of the local information, could come from the school district. You could get it from anywhere. Here in Columbus, I spent time yesterday downtown in Columbus, Ohio, and I know they're every community with like Chamber of Commerce's, and we have an Experience Columbus here. Get the information from them and know what's available, know what's going on, what are upcoming, festivals, what are the ages of things, what's happening around your area, what's the population, as this says, what recreation's nearby, what are traffic and commute times to major places. So you might want to be to the closest airport, the closest metropolitan type of park, to the downtown area from wherever you're living. what are the average commute times, and what are the routes somebody would take there. They may have stumbled upon your open house and you want to be able to share with them how they can get to these different types of venues. And then also prepare information on other open houses in the area. Now, some of the areas or the resources, because you're not reinventing the wheel, that's not what we do in real estate. We are just wise and where we can get the information from. So some of the resources for this information would be title companies. A lot of times ours on the back, I don't know if this one has that. Oh, yes, like this. A lot of times the back of our listing brochures from a particular title company will show the walkability, the school report, the outdoor report, the food report. So there's, for example, where this open house was, there's 85 restaurants within 5 miles. There's 35 golf courses. Within 1.5 miles, there's a school, for example. So you can get some of that information sometimes from your title company. You can obviously pull your stats from the MLS. And then RPR, which I don't know, I think it's available everywhere. I believe because it's through NAR, but RPR does provide a lot of information, and this is an example of one over here. This is a tiny bit of what the report that you can get from RPR has everything you don't need to know and more. But some of the examples are going to be housing information, people, economy, quality of life. So, for example, if somebody with this happened to be Westerville, Ohio, that I pulled up here as an example, but letting them know that, hey, welcome, you know, how big is it? I'm not sure if I want a big or a small area that I want to live in. So there's approximately in this zip code, 63,000 people. The greater county that it's in has 1.3 million people. Ohio's 11.7 million. And did you know? In the US, there's approximately 325 million. So anyway, that's just one small rate. It's about 50-50, male to female. The average age of the person living in that zip code is 36. And here, look at how interesting this would be to be able to talk about stats for this particular zip code, 43081. Population change since 2010 has been an increase of 16%, whereas the average of the county is 12% and Ohio overall was less than 3%. So definitely indicates the great value in this area to a home buyer. On that, I'm going to stop this and see if I can pull up here the pull up NAR and show you guys a little bit about that report. Do you guys are you guys using that, Tammy, in your area? I don't want to spend time on something if you guys aren't utilizing that, if that's not available.
Are you talking about NAR or RPR?
Not RPR, sorry.
Yes, I use RPR.
Okay. Okay, cool.
We do.
Okay, good. And oh gosh, which screen is it? I hope this is it. Okay, so I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so this is the one that we were just showing I was showing the example on. But as you hop over to some of the other, so that talks about education as well. But all that you do is put up here, you'll put the address. I hit that too quickly. Hold on. Really? All right. Well, at any rate, once you sign into RPR through the MLS, you'll log in. But once you do, apparently it's not going to come up. So that's okay. We'll just go back. But you'll put in the address on the top of it. And from there, it will take you through everything from education to walkability to population, anything that, like I said, you could ever not want to know. This is not something you would need to print to give out to everybody, but you could just know this facts for yourself, or you could make a small cheat sheet perhaps, but that's where you get it. So again, it's not about recreating everything. It is about knowing where to get it. All right, let me get back over to our PowerPoint. All right, share that. Did we have any questions out there? All right, share. I do not see my PowerPoint. Here we are. All right, can you see the PowerPoint again? There we go. All right, so you've prepared the stats, you've got all of the information that you need, and you're about ready to go to this open house. Let's talk and let's chat through safety. That is paramount. Our agent safety is across the board the utmost importance. We've all heard the stories. We don't want to be the story. We want to protect each other and make sure at the end of the day, we all are going home with our loved ones. So let's talk about being safe. So using the buddy system is, again, I'm mentioning it again, that could be utilizing a partner or an affiliate who is there with you. It could also be another agent. So a lot of the agents on our team will do 2 together. Depending on the size of the home, we've had some of them be inside when it's a more rural property that we really want to showcase the property nearby or outside, or we have a lot of times the large outbuildings that need to be showcased, or within the house on an in-law side and the main house. You can utilize a buddy system in that way. You can alternate who takes the leads from it, or this one you do and the next open house I do. However you want to work it out. But there's a lot of ways to work a buddy system and have somebody else there with you to provide safety. You want to make sure on that as well, though, like I mentioned with your phone, if you're using your phone for music or any other purpose, make sure that you are keeping it on yourself, on your body, and not setting it down on a counter or in your purse or in a drawer. Don't do that. Keep it on you for safety. Arrive early. There's nothing worse than showing up for an open house and you're not prepared to have it open and lights on and prepared and ready to go. And somebody's walking in the door. We don't want to ever be caught off guard. We want to be the most prepared. So make sure that you're arriving early to get everything done that needs to be done to open up and set up the house. Park on the street. So if you have a super long driveway, it might seem most logical and convenient when we're carrying in bags full of things to park up as close as you can to the house and to get visibility. But the best thing that you can do for safety is actually to park on the street. Now, if you have magnets on your car, if your car is wrapped, perhaps, that's additional marketing again. So that's a good thing from that aspect as well. But if you are parked on the street, what that's going to do for you is give you the best possible exit plan if you're ever in a safety situation. If you're in the driveway, everybody behind you is going to block you and there's nowhere to go. So park on the street when that is an option. If it's not an option on the street, whatever your safest place to park is to be able to give you an out should you need it. Again, make sure that phone, not only that it's on you, I'm guilty, gonna be straight up here. Make sure that it's fully charged. So before you go to your open house in the evening or 11 to 1 or 1 to 3, whatever it is, make sure that that phone has been 100% fully charged, and carry with yourself one of those external batteries that can fit in your pocket right next to the phone as well if need be. So you might be using that phone not only for music and for phone calls and text things, and to text your seller and say, hey, remind me again, what's the age of whatever, the update in the bathroom upstairs. You're going to be doing a lot of things with your phone, so make sure it is fully charged. To be safe, make sure that as soon as you get to the home that you are turning on all of the lights. The more light, the darker space is more conducive to negative activities. So have all of the lights on in the entire house, not only overhead, but lamps as well. Check for safety as well. That would now include from our world in the last few years, what are COVID guidelines? So make sure that you're staying safe in that route. I do still recommend taking to open houses. I've got the pump of the antibacterial hand gel. I have a huge supply of the sanitizing hand wipes that I just put out. I don't tell anybody what they have to do by any means, but it's available and people appreciate that. And I still put out a little stack of the masks. If you don't have to wear it, and you don't want to wear it, by all means, I'm all for that. But some people still want to. And so if it's required by market, there we go. That's what you do, whatever's required. But if it's not, still making that available to people that might want it is a good practice to have. And then finally, any additional market center guidelines that you may have. We are all in different markets, and every market center might have its own set of checklists. I'm not sure if they do, but if they do, you do want to find that out and make sure that you follow those rules. So a few additional things that I threw in as I was thinking through the safety that we make sure that we're doing is always let someone else know where you will be. This goes not only for open houses, but showings as well. So some of the things that you can do for that is either to turn on, if you have an iPhone, that Find My iPhone feature and share your location with someone else. I'm not sure what it is on Android, but there's got to be something. Share your location. So via text in a lot of the different apps, you can go in and click a pin and share it with someone so they can always follow you through a text message. You can share that. So make sure that whatever that case may be, and if nothing else, text somebody and say, I'm doing an open house from 1 to 3 at 123 Main Street. I'll let you know when I'm out. So just letting people know when you've arrived and when you're leaving. Use a flashlight. Oh, snap. I don't have it. And I have that thing all the time. My business partner, Eric, has again instilled in me, don't tell him I don't have it at this exact moment. It's in my car. But anyway, a flashlight. I want to talk about flashlights. I want to talk about safety. So this contraption, right, is with us everywhere we go. It has that flashlight. However, please do not use that flashlight when you're on a showing or when you're at an open house. Do not pull that out and let that be your flashlight. If you're doing that, then that is removing the safety aspect of that device. Don't hand it over to, I don't care how well we know them, don't hand it over to someone else to use your flashlight either, because now your safety device is gone. So there are many flashlights. I've had several of the big mag lights. For safety, I thought that's phenomenal. Well, just as much as you can use it, they can. So keep in mind, there are some extremely powerful, but really, really small. So easy to put in our pocket and carry with us, male, female, whatever. They're just small and very easy for you to carry with extremely high power, much brighter than a phone light is anyway. And you can use them as a safety device as far as striking someone if you had to, but they're also much brighter to be able to see in crawl spaces or to read the dates on hot water tanks and the such. I think that this is a KW thing. It's been at both of the offices I've been at. So I believe this is across the board, but you've always got that safety factor of asking for the red folder. So if you're kind of like, I'm not feeling like completely safe, I'm the only one here, I don't need to call the police, but I kind of want someone to know that I'd like a little backup and awareness that I might be needing some help and I just want to get another person on the phone. You can call either the market center where you are at the front desk if it's during hours that they would be there, or set up that code with a business partner or another agent or even your significant other, and just call them and say, hey, I was calling to get that red folder for 123 Main Street. They're going to know immediately what that means. 123 Main Street's not really it. Obviously, it would be the address wherever you are. But that gives them the heads up and they can ask you yes and no questions. And that way you aren't having to say, hey, this person right here is scaring me, right? You
Go put your tablet on charge, or you need help.
And then,
Well, you need
to
to go lay down for a nap.
Somebody is on mute there.
Because I said, Chloe, go charge your tablet, honey. Because you're whiny and you need some rest.
Alina, can we hit the mute button? Thank you. And then with
Don't matter.
Tammy, are you able to mute?
I don't really know.
So anyway, with our clients, also when you're going upstairs and downstairs, always allow them, whether it's a showing or open house in our scenario here, allow them to go ahead of you so that you're always behind them, that you're not ever blocked into a situation. So allow them to go first. You've already been there. You've already opened the house. You've already turned on the lights, but have them go ahead of you if you're going to be going upstairs or downstairs. You're probably typically going to be staying in the hub of the house to invite other people in, but safety. And then as we've mentioned over and over and over is bring a partner with you. Any ahas in that part? Anything new that you want to put into play in your open houses?
One thing is, I don't know if anybody knows about the app Life 360. That's a good app to use because it's on your cell. I mean, obviously, it's on your cell phone. But it says exactly where you are geographically, and it'll say how long you've been there. So that's what I use, like when I'm obviously showing houses and open houses, because then it is connected to my husband's phone, and he knows exactly when I got there, how long my car's been, or my cell phone's been there, and the minute that I leave, it'll ping him and let him know. So if I don't show up or I don't leave when I'm supposed to, it will tell him. And it has an SOS button on it too, that if I get in trouble, I can push that, and it will also ping him and let him know I'm in trouble.
So Life 360, guys. So there's another fabulous option. There was also, I will caution on, so that's great. That's an app that should be on your phone, and that should be working. I will say there is also products out there. The app she said was Life 360. There are items out there. There was one called Invisaware. I had a bracelet and I've had a necklace. I will tell you, nothing is foolproof, so beware of that. They can stop working, but that is another product that I did have for a while, and it was Bluetooth and connected to my phone. It looked like a piece of jewelry. It looked like a little dangle on the bracelet or the necklace, but the back side of it was a button that I could push, and it was directly connected to through Bluetooth to my phone. And if I pushed the button, it would send an immediate message to the company, Invisaware, as well as I think I had 3 emergency contacts on there, and it would let them know that I needed help. It would call me, and if I did not answer the phone to stop it and say it was a false call, then they would send the police to where I am, and it would notify my loved ones. So there's a lot of things for safety out there. Like I said, that's the #1 agenda, guys, is to keep everyone here safe. All right, let's continue with preparing, prospecting, and pursuing. So again, Gary Keller, we're going to bring him back into this. That's why we're all here. His quote from another quote from MREA is the difference between big and really big is how you manage your time and how you focus. So there's so much that wants to pull time and energy away from us as real estate agents, and we can squirrel like it's nobody's business in our industry. But managing our time and managing our focus is what is going to get the biggest bang for our bucks. And again, our time is money. So we're going to talk about how to prepare, how to prospect, and pursue. So let's start with prepare. Most of the work for your open house is done before the actual open house. So we're doing that by preparing both your mindset and practicing conversations, or I've heard it called here more recently as dialogue practice, I think. So with preparing your mindset, it goes back to what we've already said with setting goals, with removing those limiting beliefs we've mentioned, focusing on your success, and believing in yourself. For practicing conversations, it's with greeting people. What do I say? When somebody walks into that door, before you do it the first time or the second time, know what you want to say. What are your 4 questions? Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. What are those questions you can talk to people about? And I'll throw in there as well, it's very important to have 2 areas of conversation because people are apprehensive. You're in a home that's not yours and you're inviting strangers in. and they are strangers and they don't know you and they don't know the home either. So there is a unfamiliarity coming from all angles. So you also want to make sure that they feel comfortable and safe also. So it's good to have two areas, one of which might be that foyer when you're introducing yourself and you're saying hi and asking them some of the forward questions. And then you move into another area, usually perhaps the kitchen or the open living space, where maybe then that's where you have the flyers that you can hand out to them, or maybe you have your sign-in sheet, something like that. So they feel comfortable. They know what the layout is. They know their expectation. They know that they're safe. They know what they're going to do next. You know their name. You guys now have a relationship. Then you move to that secondary area and give them a little bit more of the information. We don't want to do, you don't want to be at the front door and hi, how are you? There's been 2 homes that have sold at this amount. I can talk faster than anybody, and that would not be fun. So make sure that you're keeping that in mind with practicing. And then what questions may they ask and how to capture their information. So like I said, this all happens before you even get there for the open house. So let's talk about that week leading up to it. These are guidelines. Right, as it is with anything. But ideally, if you had a home listed in Ohio, you can do coming soon. I'm not sure if you can in Kentucky, but if you know that this house is listed out to have a open house, say on a Saturday and Sunday, then back up some of the work throughout earlier in the week and time block it. So on Monday, you maybe choose which house it's going to be that you want to do an open house. And you may choose that by walking around your office and finding somebody who has an open house you can do. It might be selecting your own listing. It might be putting out does anybody need help on your office Facebook page, or a lot of times there are new builds that will allow you to help them as well. And that's a whole other conversation. So I won't go down that rabbit hole right now, but you could also hold an open house for them. So anyway, select that and then make up a buyer packet, because that's not something that needs specific to the house at all. But make up a buyer packet and have a couple of them where they're ready, where it has your consumer guide to agency ready. Some of the paperwork that you may have them sign, if they walk through and they love it, you want to be prepared and you want to be able to help them. So your agency disclosures and a copy of a contract. So this is something that they can have in hand to be able to look at. And then your computer is prepared with your .loop or DocuSign account or whatever you're using. Have that buyer packet ready, both electronically and in paper, so that when you meet someone at an open house, you are ready to run with putting in an offer should they want to do that. On Tuesday, start to post it online, start to walk the neighborhood, and we'll talk more about that. Invite the neighbors and in to preview the house. Sometimes people will do a neighbor open house the hour before. So if you kind of know that market, you know if a lot of them are going to show up or not. If you think it's going to be a super busy open house anyway, with buyers, then maybe have a preview hour the hour before, simply for neighbors. They feel super special in that scenario, and you can dig out of them some great information to turn around and be able to tell to the buyers who come through. Wednesday, again, you're hitting it online. Head out to the house and put your writers in. Your writers could say open whatever day and whatever time. It could, tell it's open Saturday. It could be whatever you want it to be, but go ahead and go out there. I would also, if there's going to be an open house both Saturday and Sunday, if you're doing it, you can leave the second one in your car so you're prepared. If you're not doing it, and maybe on the listing agent side, leave both of them at the house so that the agent who is doing the open house can do a switch out if needed. So make sure that you have those prepared. On Thursday, keep on posting it online. Invite anybody in your database, let them know where you are. People know, like, and trust you. They want to support you and they want to see you be successful. So let your database know about the open house. Then put up your directionals on Thursday, if you're allowed. So we'll talk about that in a second, but put your directionals up. So say, point to where the house is. So on the timing on that, some neighborhoods may not allow you. There are some areas that you can only put it up within that hour before and take it down by 1 hour after. However, if they will let you, The ideal is to have it up at least on Thursday by midday, so that Thursday during rush hour traffic, when people are coming home, they see it. When they leave for work or school in the morning on Friday, they see it. Same thing Saturday. So if you can get good visibility from Thursday and Friday, that will help you have a more busy open house on Saturday and Sunday. Again, if they will not let you, that's okay, then you won't. But if they will, then I would absolutely suggest that. And then Friday, posting it again online, preparing your market stats, because we know in our industry, things can change by day, and every house that sells is going to bolster and change the numbers that you're looking at. So go ahead and print your market statistics, and then create a video if you would like for the home that you are going to show throughout the open house. Print your flyers and go door knock. We'll talk about that. So I can't preach enough about social media. Some people love it, some people don't. And whether you do or you don't, it's a tool, we have to use it. So some of the places to consider posting, and maybe you create what works for you as far as making a timeline of what you'll do, because to sit down and to post to every one of these places I suggested could take a lot of time potentially. So maybe you do Facebook one day and boosting it, maybe you do Instagram one day, LinkedIn one day, whatever it might be, but you find out what works for you. But think about all of the places that people are on social media and how you could potentially reach them. So it could be your personal page and your business page. It could be in stories. Go out and find groups. There's a lot of times going to say like Central Ohio open houses, or homes for sale in Central Ohio, or homes for sale in Kentucky. So go out and find groups that are already created, as well as the neighborhood Facebook page. Some of the neighborhood pages will let anybody in. If they do, awesome. Go ahead and put that in there. If not, if you happen to have a friend that lives there, or the homeowner is the easiest route, but try to get that put on a neighborhood Facebook page. And also you can create an event. We can look at that in a little bit. If we have extra time, we can go back and do stuff like that. If you want later, let me know. So you can create an event. In Instagram, you've got news feed, stories, and reels. Don't forget about LinkedIn. Our business people are working all week. They're not necessarily looking at the more social media such as Facebook and Instagram. Maybe they live their life on LinkedIn. So don't forget to put your open houses out there as well. TikTok, totally different client. So you would be finding your client on TikTok that may not be on Facebook, for example. Snapchat, again, a completely different client. Don't be afraid to get to know it. You can always teach an old dog new tricks. I keep telling myself that. My team has challenged me, and it's been kind of fun to see Snapchat grow. And then really for your business, guys, one of the most valuable beyond the Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn is going to be Google My Business. So that's now changed. I think it's going to be more about Google Maps now, but you can have a Google page for your business. So when people search real estate in Kentucky, or Elizabethtown, Kentucky real estate, or homes for sale, or Columbus, Ohio homes for sale, if you are trending high in Google, then your page is going to show up on the right side of them. But the more you put into your Google page, the more that you'll trend higher. And some of those examples are adding events and products. Your product will be a house. So when you have a listing, you can post that. Now, if you don't have a listing, again, you're asking somebody else in your office, is it okay if I promote your listing? I haven't known anybody to say no, but they may, so make sure that you ask. But you can put that out as a product, and you can also put on Google an event. So put in your Saturday open house and put in your Sunday open house. Give yourself the goal of trying to put something on Google 2 to 3 times a week, and it will help you to trend higher in their algorithms. I'm going to show this little selfie video, all about doing video and screen sharing is paused. Let's see if it comes up. Can you guys see this webpage? I'm not sure if we're staring in an abyss or if you can see it. But hopefully you can see it here. It is sharing your film quality when you're doing selfies. Your length should be 1 to 2 minutes long. So you do not want to be too lengthy. So if you're afraid to do video, no worries. Your time is on your side. You're only looking for 1 to 2 minutes when you're putting this information out. It could be stories again. So it could be a static image that you're putting out, or it can be a video. If you are doing a video, again, no more than 1 to 2 minutes. Have a script out, but not a script or a dialogue that you are going to read. You want to be authentic. Hey, it's Chrissy. Welcome to 123 Main Street. I cannot wait for you to come see it on Saturday from 1 to 3. You are going to fall in love with this open space and this beautiful backyard. I can't wait to tell you more. If you have any questions, give me a call. Here's my phone number. That's all it is. Not much more than that. The orientation though, if you're taking a video, you do not want to do it in this way. When you're shooting a video, do it sideways in the landscape or the wide mode. Reason for that is when you shoot it in that method and promote this, you're able to take the same video and use it for posts as well as using it for stories and other formats. You can stretch that, whereas if you use the one up and down and you try to stretch it, you're not all the way in the picture. So do your video sideways and you'll be much happier with the outcome. The angle in which you do it. What you do not want to do is have your phone below you. It looks to them like you are looking down at them, but it's just not favorable either. When you do it up here, the double chins and all of the other things that we kind of want to hide go away when it's just slightly either at eye level, or even better is just slightly a little bit higher. Make sure that you have enough diffuse natural light if possible, and show your personality. It's a relationship business, so smile. There was one point in time when I walked into a room with some of my dad's best friends in another state, and the first thing he said when I walked in the door is, "Hi, I'm Chrissy." That's what I do, but they knew it and it became known. So make it be you, make it be authentic, but show your personality and have fun. All right, so let's stop this and go back over to our PowerPoint. Here we go. All right, so we have posted everywhere and we are now comfortable, I hope, with doing our selfie videos. So we're gonna move through that and we're gonna command. So if you're not doing a video, some of the other things that you can do, we can spend money out the wazoo in real estate, but we don't have to. So use what is available to you and hop into command. We've got designs, and in designs, some of the things that you can create. If you go under listings on the left-hand side, go back. Under listings, there is a section that says open house. There is a plethora of options for social media. It can be the wide ones, it can be stories, it can be more of the square. The wide ones work well with LinkedIn and Facebook. You can kind of do it. Anything really on Facebook. But the up and down ones that are more skinny are going to be great for your stories. And then the square ones are specifically formatted for Instagram. So there's a ton of them you can choose. You enter in the address and that is already made for you. Then you just download it. Also within there's going to be flyers that you can make. You can create postcards that you can mail out or hand out, and then door hangers if you wish to go that route. So all of that you can create in a matter of minutes in command. And other than the cost of printing, if you choose to do that, it's free other than that. Okay, I wanted to go back over. We had talked about directional sign placement. And the importance of the number of signs. So your directional sign placement, if this is the house, this is my friend's house here in our office. So where her home is listed is, you can look at the key roads. So some of the key roads here are the busiest roads from this is this North State Street and County Line. These are the busier roads compared to where this neighborhood is. So what I want to do is find out where the most traffic. Now I could put it from down here as well, coming in, because that's a pretty straight shot. That's not wrong, not bad. However, I want the closest access from the busiest streets, because that's where the most people are going to be driving and going to be able to see where my signs are. So what I've chosen right here is to you could come off of one or both. This is all going to depend on how many signs you have available to you. Again, if you have your own open house signs and directionals, wonderful. You can buy them on Amazon. You can buy them at local sign shops. You can buy them online at a variety of places that are already set and ready to go that say Keller Williams and open house. They could be generic and just say open house, or you can make them as intricate as you want with your logos, labels, and so forth. It's completely up to you. But I would recommend investing in 10 to 20 signs if possible for maximum exposure. So for example, here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have 11 planned out here. If I were to have 20 signs available, then what I would be doing is doubling at the main points of entrance to get into where the house is. So if you did that, I would choose 2 spots here, because if somebody's driving by, I'm like, did I see an open house? By the time they get here, oh, I sure did. They can still take the turn. So if you have that, I would put 2 on each side, and then signs can get lost in the mix sometimes. So I like to give movement. If somebody sees this versus just this, or see if I can do that, which is more attractive, right? This is going to grab their attention. So find something that moves. I get these every spring at the dollar store. I stock up for the year, buy out everything they have. I like everything patriotic, so I always buy the red, white, and blue ones. I love flags, anything that can move. Could be balloons. There's a shortage of helium, so if you didn't know, that may not work so well. But find something that moves, so as the wind blows, your directional sign is more noticed. So anyway, putting 2 at a main point of entrance, and then guiding people back. If there's an obvious turn, such as here where they have to turn, you're going to point that way. But here, because there's a crossroad, you're going to want to consider is putting another directional, still sending them straight ahead so that they know 100% where to go. Once they get to your house and where the open house is, you're going to have another sign pointing up to the open house. You've already got your writer in the sign. There's a lot of other things available out there that you can also use, such as if they have a flagpole on the front of the house, you can always put that kind of big flag. I've also got the ones here locally. There's a company called Sign Gypsies. I know that they're everywhere, maybe with different names, but I have some that I even bought on Amazon that I use of my own, that you can write out and spell out the words open house in front of it. So just determine what's right for that house and for that community and what they will allow. But those are all a bunch of ideas that you can use to make your signage more eye-catching. And note your placement though. So if you see how I made a map here, I would make that map so you also remember where you're going to go back and pick them up. And if somebody is doing the open house on Sunday, different from you on Saturday, you want to be able to provide them with the map so they know where to go pick the signs up from. They're not incredibly expensive, but you don't want to keep buying them. So you've got your signs out, you've got your writer in, you have started to do some of your research. You want to think about, and again, this said word use scripts, but I think we're not using that anymore. It's dialogue. But you want to think about how else you can reach people. So some of the other ways to circle prospect or to invite people to your open house is through systems like Mojo Dialing and RedX. Where you can reach out and find local phone numbers and emails of people that live in the area, and make a goal to talk to the 100 closest homes. You can do door knocking. So if you knock on the door and you say, see that house right over there, it's best when it's even within eye distance. I'm going to be holding an open house at that home, and I would love for you to come and give me your opinion on it. Anybody who lives here typically likes someone else that they know to come. We'll read that script in just a moment, or that dialogue. You can mail out postcards to the 100 nearest homes. A lot of times a title company will pair up with you for that. Saving your money is always a good thing. Facebook ads, paid and boosted. You're going to get more into that in your next class, I believe, as she's talking about lead generation through advertising and social media. But you can also do the same thing with open houses, and then talking to local renters. That's another way that you can invite people in, because we know you're always paying a mortgage. It's just whether you're paying yours or if you are paying one for your landlord. So anyway, here is a pre-open house dialogue that you could have if you are calling someone on Mojo, they answer the phone, then you can let them know, hi, I'm holding an open house just down the street. I wanted to invite you to come by and to take a look at the house. I have people who live in the neighborhood. I found that they typically live here because they love it. So if you have any friends, if you have any family who might be interested in the neighborhood, would you also please invite them as well? Hope to see you Saturday from 1 to 3. Again, my name's Christy. It's a pleasure, and I'll see you in a few. So you can have that via phone, or that same conversation can happen if you're door knocking and they answer the door. Hopefully they do. It makes your time that much more interesting. So anyway, that's another way that you can reach out to people beforehand. So we talked a lot about online, and just like we said, 51% of people are looking at open houses. 93% of buyers use a website to find a house online. So you have to go where the people are. That's the importance of why we just talked about social media with the open house. But also be mindful of that do not call list. So a lot of those systems that you use, like the Mojos and RedX and that kind of thing, they already have built in there where you click a little box and you say to remove those people, because what you don't want to do is call somebody who is on there and have an issue. So keep that in mind. So again, your goal is to try to touch 100 people by phone or door knocking or however you can get in contact with them in the days leading up to your open house. So when you're at the open house, you're here, it's the day of, let's get it going. Just some reminders, you are your brand and you are an example of the home that you're selling. So make sure that you are dressing for the job that you want, as they kind of say. You're very professional, but you want to be comfortable because you are going to be running upstairs and down the stairs, turning on lights and turning off lights and answering questions and putting signs in the yard. So make sure that you're comfortable, but don't be a secret agent. Always have on your name tag, and your most important thing you're going to wear is your smile. Okay, a few of the things that, do I have any questions? I've done a lot of talking. Is there anybody out there with any questions? Okay, so what to bring to the open house? You've got the writers. It can be a Saturday and Sunday. It could say open Friday, open Thursday, whatever the case may be. You've got your directional signs. If they're not already out, bring those on the day of. Your sign-in items. Some people like to use a paper sign-in sheet. There is a variety of types that you can use. So you can use a paper one that people actually sign in on. You might also choose to do a QR code. I love this one. It's the most easy. So again, using the systems that are provided to us, you can create a QR code. They can scan that, and behind that QR code takes them to a KW landing page that you have created that can have your branding on it. It can have the listing information on it, and then a lead form. So somebody can go and sign up for attending your open house. And once they scan a QR code that takes them back to your landing page, then they're already entered into command. You sign them to a smart plan, and your relationship goes from there. So use what's available to you, and technology today is very important. Certainly, if they're not already there from the listing agent, take the shoe covers with you to protect the floor. Any items that you want that would pertain to the theme you chose, if you chose one. I used to take flowers. They're just beautiful. They add spark. It got kind of costly. At one point, I was doing a lot of open houses. And I felt kind of guilty taking the flowers away from the open house, and I was giving it to my clients. So I paired up with a friend who owns a painting company, one of those paint yourself kind of companies. And I put out her business cards now with a painting of flowers. And that works quite nice. And I don't mind taking that when I leave. So take that type of thing with you. If you want, take water. People, especially we're getting into summer, it's going to be really hot out. If you provide them water, they're going to be very thankful. It's going to stop them in their tracks for a minute. While they open it, they drink it, and they tell you thank you. That gives you more time to be with them. And obviously you're providing something that they would, they're probably wanting and needing anyway. Take with you some potential feedback forms. So some people like it, some people don't. do what's best for you. I like one that's very, very simple. All that people have to do is circle from a 1 to a 5 their thoughts on items such as curb appeal, their first impression when they walked into the home, the kitchen and family room, master bedroom, backyard. How does the home meet their criteria? And what do they think about the home's value? When it's circling from a 1 to a 5, they don't have to put words and thought into it. It's their first impression. And that's going to give you the feedback that you need to be able to give to the seller afterwards. Don't forget your business cards. I like to put mine in a little thing like this, keeps it together with all the pins that I'm taking. Any lender info, maybe have some folders together with that, with the buyer information, and of course the flyers that you need for the house. All right, so you walk up to the house. If there's been a lot of activity, which most houses have had here as of the last couple of years, the house might need a little bit of refreshing before you open the doors for your open house. That open house is a reflection on you. So you might want to do a quick mop or a Swiffer or sweeping, whatever you have available prior to the open house starting. If it's solid wood type of floors or laminate vinyl, turn all of the lights on and the fans, open all of the blinds that give you the best view and the most natural light. Turn on the music if you've created your playlist. Turn on the television, maybe to HGTV, maybe to that game that we mentioned is playing, or to a cooking show, whatever makes them feel at home and at peace. If it does for you, then it probably would for them. Video for social media, go ahead and do it while you get there. So once you've got the house set up and you're ready to go, turn on your wide side your video. You can put it on a tripod or you can hold it in your hand, but just let people know, hey, I'm here. This is the time, this is the address, and this is a couple of key features. Come out and see me today. Again, I'll be here this long. So do a quick video that goes on live on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you have the largest following. That's where you would want to do it. Put the key from the lockbox in a safe place so that you know where it is at the end of the open house. Change the writer in there if you haven't already done it to let people know that you're here. And then you know what? Have fun. Our time is money, but our time has to be fun or we're not in the right business. So make it fun. All right, what are they going to ask you? We've been through most of this, so we are going to move on. One point though on the mortgage information is there's a lot of beneficial tools that they can use within Keller Mortgage. So go out there and check it out. Look online at Keller Mortgage, visit them and learn more about what the offers are. I do know that we had somebody in here from Keller Mortgage a couple of days ago, and they said there's a shop and lock program that they're creating. There's some other things that are available through KW. I think before you give Keller Mortgage a referral, you have to have the consumer guide filled out, which you should have anyway. So anyway, look into what they can offer as well as your favorite local affiliate that you're working with. Because of all the information you've already captured, you are going to be building trust and rapport. You're providing value. So now let's capture their information. How you're building, you've already done all of your homework. And when they get in that door, you want to make sure you're smiling and you are greeting everyone that comes in. That's going to include all of the children, all of the dog. Well, I don't know if they can bring dogs in, but maybe depends where you are. But greet everyone because they want to know that as a whole unit, everyone coming in is equally important and that they all have been acknowledged. And then kind of take a look who is in the group. The person who signs on the dotted line on the contract is not necessarily always the decision maker. So you want to make sure that you're addressing every person in a group, if there's more than one person, answering all of their questions and watching their demeanor and their conversation back and forth amongst each other to see who is a decision maker, who is the one that is providing the maybe the financial backing or maybe more of the opinion. So kind of figure out who is that in each dynamic. Find out what brought them in today. Find out how did they find out about your open house. That's what's going to be super beneficial to you to know what to do more of the next time. How long have they been looking for homes? You know, how serious are they? And are they ready to move forward, or are they just kicking the can and they like to see other people's homes? Find out more about what they like and they want to know about a neighborhood or a market. That's going to guide what your next topic is. We want to not be tunnel vision for what we want to say, but say what they would like to hear. Remember, be positive, right? It's a positive force in their imagination is what you need to be. The reason they're in a house and the reason they are buying a home is because they are trying to think about their future life, their future lifestyle, and what their life is going to be like in the next month, 6 months, and 10 years. So think about them with each of those questions. Providing value is going to come from all of your stats you've already done with your work, any information as far as your market center and where your market center and Keller Williams as a whole, how we stand as far as being number one in different areas, and then understand their personality type. Many of us out there, I think you all, and if you haven't, should take the KPA and the DISC test and all these different things that are both free online or offered through Keller Williams. Find out what your personality type is, but be aware of other people's personality types so that you can mirror it. So if you're a really, really fast talker, which can be me, if I am talking to somebody who is a much slower talker, then I'm going to slow down my amount of talking and what I say, and I'm going to do a better job of listening. Versus if somebody is a really, really loud talker, I'm going to add more excitement and more talking to it. But if they're a really quiet talker, then I'm going to reduce my volume. If they're sitting here like this, I'm probably going to give them a little bit of space. But if they're more of a talker like this, I might add a little bit of animation in. So you want to mirror their energy and match their energy and their interest level. You don't want to come head on as somebody who's really reserved. That won't go over too well. And like vice versa, you could become very boring if you stayed monotone and they had a lot of energy. So meet them where they are. So we're going to capture the leads. The way that we're going to do that again is through the sign-in sheet. A lot of people like to use technology. Major fan of that. The easier you can make something, the better. There are systems out there. Open House Pro is one, I believe. There's all kinds of them. You search them. There's all kinds out there that you can use to collect leads through iPads and computers and other things like that. Again, I'm all about simplicity. I like to use the QR code, get their information directly into command, and then go from there. To get more leads, it's going to be through your listening, your forward questions, and don't forget to ask them. Just the ask is what somebody needs sometime, and that is asking them for an appointment. Once you get that information from them, you don't want that to go to an abyss. You get the information, you're going to utilize it to best provide them service and to build your database. So you want to, as soon as, whether it's going in directly to command from your QR code in your page, or if you are hand entering it, if they did a paper sign-in sheet, you're going to update your database, whether it's command or elsewhere, with all their contact information, any notes that you may have written down as far as the type of home they want, the area, the budget, what's important to them, what their motivation factor and their timeline is, and then tag your database. So it could be tagged that they are a buyer. It could be tagged that you found them at an open house. It could be tagged with a zip code. Tag them also with the DTD2 lettering that we have with Keller Williams, so that you make sure that they are a part of your quarterly phone calls. So when they go into your database, that's going to be maximizing them as a lead. Make sure that you follow up with everyone. And after the event, you, believe it or not, will be one of the few who probably does. So that will make the biggest impact when you actually follow through. And then at the end of the open house is reevaluate your goals you had set. So how many people did you meet? How many people did you add to your database? And how many appointments did you schedule? There's a dialogue here that can be shared with you at any time if you want it. I'm not going to read through this, but when you call them afterwards, you're essentially just wanting to find out, say hi, tell them who you are, clarify which open house. They may have gone to 10 open houses over the weekend. So I'm calling, thank you for coming by 123 Main Street on Saturday around 1 o'clock, and then ask a few more questions about it. You remember this house had 4 bedrooms. How did you like it? How did it fit your needs? That type of thing. And whether it did or not, invite them to whatever your next call to action is. So invite them to a buyer's presentation, invite them to the next open house, ask them if you can send them a list of other homes that are available. Just taking that action though, and giving them the next call to action is going to be the point of difference between you and a lot of other agents out there. When you are leaving that open house, again, you cleaned it up to make sure it was ready for everyone who was there. I like to mop it down again if need be. A lot of shoes will be dusty after some rain in the spring. So make sure that the floors look just as great, because when your homeowner comes home or you have another showing later that evening or afternoon, you want it to look as pristine for everyone who walks in. Turn off the lights and close up the blinds if that's the way that they were. Unless there's another showing coming later, then you most likely want to leave that on. Do a video. I walk back outside again, and in front of the open house sign or the writer on the yard sign, I pulled that video up and right there in front of them say, hey, thank you. It's Chrissy. It was a pleasure to meet you today. Wanted to let you know, again, this is 123 Main Street. It's listed at XYZ dollar amount. It was a beautiful day outside today, and I'm so happy I got to know you. If you have any questions, call me. My phone number is, and that's it. You can make one generic video and then you can text it out to a bunch of different people, one at a time if you want. Make yourself easy, but when you come to life with a video and they see your personality, it's going to be much, much, much more effective than an email that's going to get lost probably in an email box. Don't forget to put the key in the lockbox. It sounds silly, but we just had that scenario. You do not want to get 45 minutes away or half hour away to your next showing or home, ready to get on with your life and realize you have the key in your pocket. So we had an agent that recently did that. They had to hurry back across town before a showing happened. So make sure you put that key back in the lockbox, change out the writer to either have the next day or to go back to new listing or a great location or whatever the other writer may say, and then go pick up all of your open house signs unless they stay out for the following day if it's another day coming. All right, guys, we have gone through open house best practices, benefits of an open house, preparing and prospecting for the future, and how to take care of those leads. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to pop them in the chat. Otherwise, we will keep on, and we are getting close to finishing. If there's any questions, we'll take those in just a few minutes. Actually, in this last part is going to be focusing in on your success system. I believe you may have been doing that through a lot of your for each one of these that you've been talking about. And when they talked about the success system in Keller Williams and Ignite, it went through your 10 conversations and contacting 10, getting 10 contacts added, into your database, handwritten notes, social media engagement, but there's a lot of other things I wanted to share that we are doing as well. This is a little bit outside of just open houses, but part of being a successful agent has helped us. So I was hoping to be able to share with you. And that is, we have followed both bold and ninja selling in my team. So we all do 25 affirmations daily, listening to positive daily readings, or I know Tammy's got me hooked up with the Empire Building, Her Best Life series. Right. There are all kinds of Keller Williams ones that are available as well, and real estate in general, or hop out on Clubhouse. There's some great rooms out there, some Central Ohio rooms. There's some that are across the US. I'm certain there's some in Kentucky as well. I've even created one within our office. It's a Thursday think tank, and it's only people within our office that collaborate every Thursday for 30 minutes. use video as much as you can. If you send a happy birthday to someone in a video, either in text message or a DM, that's going to make the world a difference to them. And then journaling. Tammy gave me a beautiful journal, so thank you, my dear friend. And writing down what we're thankful for and 3 gratitudes every day, and reflecting. Not every open house and not every client and not every day is perfect, but as a whole, just say it's a ninja every day and is a day in paradise. So we're lucky to be in an industry. We have so many options and choices to run it however we want to do. Hopefully you're full-time, but some of you may be part-time. I started that way as well. But whatever position you're in, you really do have to have fun, and it's a people business. So what questions are out there? Anything that, you know what? It's not even questions, it's add. What are you guys doing that I want to learn from you as well? Anything that has been super successful, anything not mentioned?
Well, so number one, we don't we don't put any 20 signs out, because around here, they'll pick them up and use them for target practice. We're a shooting county here. And that's just the truth. Because we were saying, well, you won't have to pick up your signs afterwards, because Bubba and JD done picked them up and they're in the backyard shooting them with their shotguns. And that's just the truth. I mean, in Bardstown, Kentucky, you can get with the highway department and they'll just pick up your signs, and then you can just go there and get frames and stuff for free. True story. Yeah, they pick them up and then you find them and they got holes in them. You're like, oh my gosh, that's my sign. They pick them up and they shoot them. Not because they don't like you, but they're just really good for shooting. So 20 signs, we don't really do that. And then the other thing is that, like, after all my open houses, I do call them, but I also, the very first thing I do is I send a thank you card, because I'm all about cards. I send a thank you card to every single person that came to my open house, thanking them for coming. And then I put that note in there, if there's anything I can do to help you in real estate, please let me know. And I have gotten buyers and sellers from just doing that. It's one simple task.
It's follow through. Yeah, you're that point of difference. You are top of mind because you went 100% further than anybody else did. Not surprised. Amazing. Heck, if
Within 2 days after an open house, they get that.
2 days later, what?
Within 2 days of an open house, they all get a thank you card.
Everybody hear that? That's golden. Absolutely golden. A side note, if they're using your signs as targets, I've made before. I have targets. I should send you the file, but I have targets. Sponsor them because I sponsored shooting events. So maybe you should make targets and put your logo on it.
Yes, I should.
Anyway. If they're going to shoot at something anyway, at least make it something you're giving them. Use something branded. That's wonderful. Thanks, Tammy. Anything else, guys? All righty. Well, if you have any questions, again, I'm KW and here in Columbus, but I love coming down and visiting. Love the Heartland office, and I was able to be down there recently. So come your way anytime I can, and love what we are as far as culture, and the fact we're all here together is unique, and it's not happening in other brokerages. So I thank you all for letting me to be part of your day or whenever you're watching this in the future. And I can't wait to keep learning from you. I'm one person and one team here in one office, but collectively we all make a difference out there and make Keller Williams what it is. So thanks for letting me be a part of it.
Well, Chrissy, thank you so much. I'm very partial and very biased. I could sit and listen to her all day. And I do get the opportunity on our girls' weekends and our tribe getaways to get to listen to her all day. So I'm pretty selfish.
The tribe knuckles.
But thank you so much for agreeing to teach. And I hope everybody got a lot of value out of it today. And I will definitely be asking you to teach again. So, yeah.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Happy